This MFL Marmac Coach Conversation brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Meyer Auto Service, and Havlicek Trucking, where with head coach Dan Anderson, you made the trip down to Cascade last week, Coach, and you ended up with the victory to clinch the district championship, a 33-20 win last Friday night. How'd you get it done?
It kind of was the tale of two halves. We came out and we scored right away, and then they scored on us and moved right down the field, and then we ended up having a bad snap on a punt and gave them a short field. They scored again, and we had put together a nice drive there and scored in the second quarter, and it was all knotted up at 13 at halftime. And we had some drive-killing penalties there in the second quarter, things that were kind of uncharacteristic. So, we talked to the kids there at halftime, just said, we're a good enough team to win this, and just got to quit shooting ourselves in the foot with the penalties. And the second half they came out and our kids really played well. We dominated the second half. We scored our first three drives and took a 21-point lead there into the fourth quarter, and it was 33-13 with about a little over a minute left when Cascade tacked one more on. But the kids really played a great second half. Didn't have the penalties, didn't make the mistakes. Really established the running game. We had a couple of 100-yard rushers, and Zach had over 100 yards passing. So we really were balanced on offense, and defense really buckled down a lot better in the second half too. We gave up some yards, but we were able to keep them out of the end zone there in the second half for the most part.
And you talked about your running game, 296 yards on the ground last Friday, 7 yards a carry. You mentioned Carver with his 142 and 2 scores, Wyatt with his 125 yards and a score. Seemingly, you were moving the football all night. Once you got out of your own way, things just kept going in a more positive direction. Fair assessment?
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing that all year. I mean, our offense is pretty efficient. We've been firing on all cylinders. There's really been no team that's been able to slow down our running game. It's we're the only guys that slow us down at time, having maybe a turnover, or, some penalties on our offensive line, maybe a holding or we got a couple chop block penalties called against us on Friday night. A couple more look questionable, but that happens. And we were really efficient on offense when you can have 200-yard rushers. And like I said, Zach threw for 128. And he was 8 for 12, 75%, and he hit 7 different receivers. So when you can do that great, that good a balance, you're hard to defend. And we like to think that we're really a tough team to defend because we're not a one-man show. We have a lot of guys in our team that contribute and score touchdowns and get yards and first downs. And, I coach the defense, and I know if I was playing against us, I'd have a heck of a time trying to defend us. So Coach Pomerantz, Coach Burke do a great job with our offense, getting, a good game plan together. And we always move the ball and able to put points up on teams.
And you touched on the efficiency in your passing game. Zach, 8 of 12 the other night, 128 yards, a touchdown. He did have an interception, but how has the passing game evolved and developed as the season has gone by?
Well, I think that's where we probably, evolved the most and showed the most improvement. Zach's really grown up. There's no substitute for experience, Darren. I mean, you're a sophomore quarterback. You're going to make some mistakes, but he's really grown as a quarterback, good leader out there, sees the field better. The game's slowed down for him now. Now that we're to mid-season, he makes good decisions. He understands if it's not there, you don't have to try to complete every pass, and he knows when you can throw it away. There's always, he still makes a mistake here or there, but he's getting better every week. The receiver's doing a lot better job of catching the ball. We didn't have the drops that we had previous weeks. Made some really nice catches, and like I said, he does a really nice job. He sees the field well now, and it distributes the ball to the open receivers. It's not Billy throwing to his buddy Bobby. He actually is looking for the open receivers and going through his progression, and from his one read to his number 2 read, and then moving on from there, and keeps the play alive with his legs. And Zach's really evolved, as a quarterback and does a great job.
You had 5 guys with at least 5 tackles on defense the other night, 6 tackles for a loss and a sack. You also turned the ball over once. Within the team concept, that's quite a few guys getting in on the action defensively. How have you gotten better? How have you progressed defensively as the season has gone by, and how key has that been in your continued success?
Well, yeah, the number one key is just to try to, keep it simple and let the kids play fast. I think sometimes, defensive coaches, defensive coordinators, they try to do too much. And, if your kids have to think, and if if they're a little confused, they're going to play slow. I want my kids playing with lots of confidence. So we don't do too many things defensively. We have a good game plan. We have certain checks. The kids understand if they see something, the team comes out in double tights, they might check into something else. But Cade McElwain does a great job as our Mike linebacker. He stepped in there when Gabe graduated last year, and he runs the defense for us and does a great job. He's leading our team in tackles, and he's actually leading the whole district in tackles right now. And he's just a good leader out there for us at middle linebacker. And Cascade's a pretty potent football team on offense. They score a lot of points, and they completed some passes. But when they got closer to the goal line, the field shrinks obviously, and our DBs tighten up their coverage. We brought a little bit more heat, and we were able to get a couple sacks and tackles for loss and put them behind the sticks. And number one thing though is just keep it simple and just training your kids to sprint to the football, run to the ball, because good things happen when you run to the ball. I mean, you get turnovers. If somebody misses a tackle, you have 3 or 4 more guys there, making the tackle and making him right. So, that's just the big keys to defense. Keep it simple, run to the ball, tackle well, and good communication. You'll see our guys out there, they're pointing, they're talking. When I watch film, we don't have any audio on our film, but I can see, from film. I always tell our kids, say what you see and point what you say, and so I can see these guys, they're pointing, and you can see them talking to each other, and their heads turning, and, they're communicating back and forth. And that's a big key to good defense. And our kids have been playing great defense lately.
When you talk about keeping it simple, is that something that you have learned as time goes by as a defensive coach?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I think as a young coach, probably in my early years, you try to do too much. Everything looks great on paper, and then, but when the kids are out there and the game's going, because I was there once, and it's too confusing. You got that deer in the headlight look, when you step out there sometimes on Friday nights. You just want to make sure that the kids are confident and make some simple checks. And, our guys do that. And we could add a little bit more. We've added a few more wrinkles as the season's gone on, and we'll have a few more wrinkles for Beckman this week. But, it's important to keep things simple for the kids and just play fast.
And when you look ahead to week number 8 of the season here tonight or this week, I should say, as you take on Dyersville Beckman. What do you expect out of the Blazers come Friday night?
Well, one thing we know is that they beat us last year and they knocked us out of the playoffs. And so we kind of expected this week, to be honest, early in the season, we thought this would be the district title week. We thought that we had a good chance to play for the district title, and we thought that Beckman, could be undefeated or, battling us for the district title in the last week of the season. And Beckman has a few guys that are out for non-injury related reasons. And so they've got some new faces in there the last couple of weeks. But people might say, well, Beckman's out of the playoffs. They were ranked number 1 in the state to start the season, or week 3 by the Gazette, but they've lost 3 out of 4 now. And so, they're struggling a bit, but they still have some good athletes on the football team. Our kids, like I said, it's a big game. We had this game circled after last season, and just because it's not for the district title, that circle on the calendar is in permanent ink. I'm not erasing that. I mean, it's our kids. This means a lot to them, even though it's not for the district title. We want a little revenge, and we remember what happened last year, and the coaches remember, and we remind our kids that Beckman, they had the win sealed, and they were still throwing it there with 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes left in the game, and tacked on another touchdown. So there's a bit of hard feelings there, but we have to stop them. And so this week, it's Beckman week. The kids are fired up. The intensity's there. The focus is there. And just because, like I said, it's not for the district title, I can guarantee you and our fans that we're going to come out ready to play, because we want this one just as much as any game during the whole season.
All right, Coach, congrats on your district championship, but a lot more work to do, and it all starts this Friday night as you take on Beckman. Keep your guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
All right, thanks, Darren. Appreciate it.
This MFL Marmac Coach Conversation brought to you by Birdnow Chevrolet, Meyer Auto Service, and Havlicek Trucking.